Hey everybody, it's me, LisaT. Latin up your life with Lisa. Coming at you with some positive energy, reading The Language of Letting Go by Beattie. June 18. I always look over there because my calendar is up on the wall in case anyone's ever wondering, what does she look at all the time? Yeah, my calendar. June 18. Being vulnerable, so key to healing and feeling connected to people around you and to the world is being vulnerable. It's such a gift if you are able to be vulnerable and talk about your true self and your true thoughts and your true feelings and what's really going on for you. I always feel very unnerved, I guess is a word, when I say to someone that I know has their ups and downs, whatever, and I say how are you doing? And they're like, good, how are you? It's like, are you? And yeah, I'm good. And how are you? It's an okay response, of course. Or a better example is when someone says oh, everything's fine. It's fine. Or when someone says, oh, I can't complain. What does that mean? I always want to be are you sure? What's really going on? And talk to me. And it's okay to be processing things. It's okay to be going through things. It doesn't mean that things aren't good. It doesn't mean that you're not okay. It doesn't mean that you're not, thriving and enjoying your life. But life comes up. And so the more vulnerable we can be, it just lets people in, and it lets someone else know that they can, when you're vulnerable with someone, it lets them know that they can be vulnerable with you too. And there's a connection that gets made in those moments. So anyways, being vulnerable, June 18th. Part of recovery means learning to share ourselves with other people. We learn to admit our mistakes and expose our imperfections. There you go. This piece of us that says, I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. No, we're not perfect. We're human beings. We're flawed. A forest has chaos, and so do we. And that's okay. And embracing that part of us makes us even more human. And it helps us again connect to other people. So we learn to admit our mistakes and expose our imperfections, not so others can fix us or rescue us or feel sorry for us, but so we can love and accept ourselves. So we're not letting someone, when you say to someone oh man, I'm going through this really tough time, you're not saying that so they save you or feel sorry for you. It's doing that so you can love and accept yourself. So really, really key. So we can love and accept ourselves. This sharing is a catalyst in healing and changing. So when you can do that, it's the catalyst. It's what's going to propel you into healing and changing for the better. Many of us are fearful of sharing our imperfections because that makes us vulnerable. Oh God, no, I can't let them see that part of me because then they'll see that I'm flawed. Or oh no, then they'll think I'm not perfect. Or no, then they'll worry about me. No, you're just sharing your humanness. And it makes you vulnerable, and that's okay. Some of us have tried to be vulnerable in the past, and people tried to control, manipulate, or exploit us, or they made us feel ashamed. I remember being with a person a while back, and I said to this person a couple of times, I'm like, God, you're shaming me. And so that can trigger us to then not share our true selves, and that doesn't help us in any way. So if someone's shaming you, then you just need to put a boundary. And most of the time this has happened in our past, and so we have new power now to take better care of ourselves, love ourselves more, and take better care of ourselves. So some of us in recovery have hurt ourselves by being vulnerable. So we've hurt ourselves by being vulnerable. So then we put up this wall and this barrier, but we don't need that anymore. We're getting stronger and healthier. So some of us in recovery have hurt ourselves by being vulnerable. We may have shared things with people who didn't respect our confidence. We chose the wrong ones, right? But we've talked about this in other videos. It's about now choosing healthier people to, learning our boundaries and learning when it's safe to share and when it's safe to be vulnerable, and knowing when we just we can just be not so deep with someone or whatever. Okay, so we may have shared things with other people who didn't respect our confidence, or we may have told the wrong people at an inappropriate time and scared them away. We learn from our mistakes. The only thing that's been is a learning lesson. If that's happened to you, the only thing that's been is a learning lesson for you to grow and become stronger and love yourself more in the future and now. So we learn from our mistakes. And despite our mistakes, it is still a good thing to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and honest. The more you do it too, the more you realize if someone does like disrespect your confidence or does shame you, because you're building this self-love, you then it won't affect you, and you can't be taken down by those things anymore. So we learn from our mistakes. Despite our mistakes, it is still a good thing to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and honest, especially with ourselves, honest with ourselves. We can learn to choose safe people with whom to share ourselves. We can learn to share appropriately so we don't scare or push people away. We don't want to like vomit everything onto someone, we want to respect someone else's boundaries too, right? And we learn how to do that and the only way to learn is through practice and experimentation. So we can learn to share appropriately so we don't scare or push people away. We can also learn to let others be vulnerable with us. Learn to hold space for people so that they can share and don't try to fix them or control them or make it better for them, or you just like hold space for people to be themselves. It's a beautiful thing. That's it, kiddos. Okay, here's your prayer for today. Connect. And today, God, help me learn to be appropriately vulnerable. I will not let others exploit or shame me for being vulnerable, and I will not exploit myself. Amen. One more time, yeah? Ready? Close your eyes. Say it with me, or hear my words and make them your own. Today, God, help me learn to be appropriately vulnerable. I will not let others exploit or shame me for being vulnerable, and I will not exploit myself. I will love and appreciate myself. Mwah. Can't give away what you don't have, people. I love you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day loving yourselves.